Imagine this. You're at a huge sporting event, okay? Thousands of cheering fans all around you. The energy's massive. And then, bam, the Jumbotron lights up with your face.
Oh, wow.
And your partner is down on one knee, proposing. Dream come true, maybe. Or is it actually your worst nightmare?
Yeah, for Nikole Paterson, the main character of the book we're talking about today, it was definitely leaning towards nightmare.
Absolutely. Today we're diving into Jasmine Guillory's fantastic novel, The Proposal. And this book, it doesn't just, glance at a super public, high-pressure moment like that.
Yeah, it jumps right in.
It really does. It gets into that clash between what everyone expects and what's actually true for the person right in the middle of it all. We're going to explore what happens when something so personal goes incredibly public.
And the journey that follows, right? The Proposal, it came out in 2018. And people really loved its modern, kind of empowering take on romance.
Yeah.
It landed just as everyone was talking more about social media, public versus private life, consent, all that stuff. So super relevant.
Timing was perfect.
Totally. It hit the bestseller lists fast. People praised the diverse characters, the very contemporary feel. It just clicked. And as you're listening now, you're actually part of a unique two-voice AI conversation.
That's right.
It's powered by Google's NotebookLM. And the whole idea is to give you a deeper and more dynamic analysis of the book.
And hopefully, as we unpack all this, the insights we uncover together can spark some reflection for you, maybe encourage some rational thought.
That's the goal.
For more like this, definitely check out our Mindful Moments series. It's on our YouTube channel. More AI book analysis designed to get you thinking.
Good stuff there.
So let's properly set the scene for The Proposal title. The Proposal, author Jasmine Guillory. Published 2018 by Berkeley Penguin. Genre is contemporary romance. And interestingly, it's the second book in her The Wedding Date series. But you absolutely do not need to read the first one. It works completely on its own.
Right. It stands alone perfectly. And at its heart, this book is really exploring that collision, that tension between what society expects and, well, your own personal autonomy.
Yeah.
The story kicks off, as you said, with Nikole Paterson. She's this sharp freelance writer getting thrown into the spotlight with that massive stadium proposal.
Unexpected is an understatement.
Totally. And the book's core message, its argument really, is about how vital self-knowledge is.
Yeah.
And clear communication. And maybe most importantly, having the guts to say no to societal pressure and choose what's authentic for you.
It champions that courage.
It really does. It suggests, real relationships aren't just luck. They're built on purpose.
And it doesn't just suggest it. Like you said, it really drills down into some key themes through Nick's story. Female empowerment, autonomy, that's huge here.
Front and center. And
it picks apart the whole idea of public performative romance. The kind that looks great on Instagram, but maybe isn't real.
Yeah, the curated version of love.
Exactly. It hammers home how crucial communication and consent are, not just in romance, but everywhere. And I found the way it handles healing from past trauma. Embracing vulnerability. Really powerful.
It shows it's necessary for connection.
Absolutely necessary. And the diversity and inclusion aspects feel so natural, so reflective of, real modern relationships.
It's woven in beautifully. And what's really interesting is how the book makes its points. It suggests that these big public gestures, the stuff society often romanticizes.
Right, the grand romantic gesture.
Exactly. It suggests those can actually undermine real intimacy, turn it into a performance, not a partnership. Instead, the proposal argues that solid partnerships are built differently. Quietly, maybe, with mutual respect, open talk, and space for personal growth.
Growing together, not just being together.
Precisely. And healing from past hurts. That's not just a side plot. It's presented as essential, often hard work you got to do to build something healthy and lasting. It's less about the fairy tale ending and more about the real work involved.
That's such a refreshing take for a romance novel. How does Guillory actually show us this? Where do we see Nik really embodying this self-knowledge?
Well, the big one is her refusal of that proposal. Right at the start. It's huge, impactful.
It sets the whole tone.
It does. It makes her infamous online, kind of, but it kicks off her journey towards standing her ground. It's radical honesty in public.
Yeah.
Then there's the relationship that develops between Nik and Carlos. It's so refreshing because it starts with friendship, honesty, mutual support, not some whirlwind romance.
It builds slowly, deliberately.
Exactly. And even the subplots, family stuff, friendships, career pressures, they aren't just filler. They echo the main themes. They show these principles matter in all parts of life, not just love.
Makes the world feel richer, more real. And the writing itself has some lines that just stick with you, don't they? Like this one. When someone asks you to spend your life with him, it shouldn't come as a surprise or happen in front of 45,000 people.
That line says so much. It cuts right to the core of consent, being more than just saying yes or no at the last second.
It's about the lead up.
Exactly. True partnership involves talking before you get to the life-altering question. It's about mutual understanding. There's another great one that builds on that. Nik realized how crucial open communication is in relationships. Fisher's public proposal caught her off guard, highlighting that meaningful decisions, like marriage, should be discussed beforehand.
It's not just about avoiding embarrassment, right? It's fundamental respect.
Precisely. It's about treating the other person like an actual partner in the decision.
And there's this other quote that speaks to the book's bigger picture. The proposal hits the mark with its characters. Jasmine Guillory uses her characters to showcase elements of feminism, diversity, inclusion, and the concept that love doesn't always have to feel like a trap.
Wow. A romance saying love doesn't have to be a trap.
Yeah.
That feels significant.
It really does. It feels like a conscious choice to push back against some older, maybe more restrictive romance tropes.
Absolutely. So let's zoom out a bit and look at the context. The author, the time it was written, the intended audience, what rhetoricians call the rhetorical situation.
Okay.
Jasmine Guillory herself brings a ton of credibility, ethos, we'd call it. She's known for romance, yes, but specifically for witty, inclusive, emotionally smart stories.
She has a distinct voice.
She does. And her background is interesting. She practiced law. That experience, plus her own life experiences, seems to really inform the nuanced characters and realistic situations she creates. They feel grounded.
So that legal background might influence how she constructs arguments or character motivations?
Could be. It certainly adds to her reputation for portraying women of color authentically, tackling modern relationship dynamics head-on. Her style is approachable, funny, but sharp. Readers trust her.
And the timing you mentioned earlier, that period of more awareness about gender, privacy, representation.
Yeah, that's the occasion, or exigence.
Yeah.
The book felt necessary. It spoke directly to a need for romance novels that actually empower women, that challenge stereotypes, that look like the diverse world we live in.
It was part of a larger cultural conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It taps into ongoing discussions about feminism, about how social media shapes our lives, pressures us, maybe.
So who was she primarily writing for?
Well, the main audience is clearly readers of contemporary romance, especially those looking for strong female leads, diverse characters. But it also reaches further.
Like who?
Book clubs, definitely. And really, anyone trying to figure out modern dating and relationships. People who appreciate the focus on consent, communication, self-care.
Things that resonate beyond just the romance plot.
For sure. And she makes it accessible, Lots of dialogue, easy to read prose, focus on friendships alongside the romance. It pulls a wide range of readers in.
You talked about credibility coming from the characters. How exactly does she make them feel so real? Their struggles, their growth. It feels earned.
I think it's because the book doesn't shy away from the messy parts of modern lives. It really leans into the importance of consent, of autonomy in every interaction, not just the big moments.
It's consistent.
Yes. And she weaves in relatable details, cultural references, family pressures, job stress, Nik's freelancing ups and downs, Carlos's demanding residency. It grounds the romance in reality. These feel like real people with real lives.
And the emotional, the pathos it hits right away with that proposal scene. You feel Nik's embarrassment, her panic almost.
Oh, totally. Instant empathy. Or maybe horror for her.
Right. How does the book keep you emotionally invested after that initial shock?
Skillfully, I'd say. The slow build between Nik and Carlos creates this lovely tension, lets vulnerability develop naturally. You start rooting for them, not just as a couple, but as individuals navigating their stuff.
You care about their personal journeys, too.
Exactly. And the subplots dealing with grief, navigating tricky friendships, family expectations, they add layers of emotional depth. You might see echoes of your own life in there.
Makes it resonate more.
Definitely. And crucially, Guillory balances it all with humor. Witty banter, moments of genuine joy. It stops the heavier themes from feeling overwhelming. It's feel good, but it still has substance. Great emotional balance.
Okay, let's talk logic, the logos. The plot moves from that very public, awkward start to a much more private, real connection. How does that structure reinforce the book's main points?
It mirrors the argument perfectly, doesn't it? The relationship between Nik and Carlos evolves logically. Strangers, then friends with benefits, but with actual rules and communication. Then something deeper.
There are clear steps.
Yes, guided by boundaries and honest talk. They actually discuss their fears, their expectations. That builds the trust. And when conflicts come up, Nik's trust issues from the past, Carlos's family stuff, the way they're handled, reinforces the themes of growth and partnership. Nothing feels forced. It all tracks logically.
Shifting gears to language, the style is just so readable. Contemporary, witty, accessible words, right? No heavy-handed melodrama.
Absolutely. The diction is spot on for the genre and the characters. And the syntax, the sentence structure is very dialogue-heavy. Short, snappy exchanges mixed with internal thoughts that give you direct access to what they're feeling.
Keeps the pace moving.
It does. The overall tone manages to be lighthearted and sincere. It blends humor with vulnerability really well. And she uses figurative language smartly. Metaphors, analogies, like the punch like a girl idea in Nik's self-defense class.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
It's not just a phrase. It's used to reclaim the term, to associate it with strength and Nik's growing confidence. It subverts the old meaning to empower her. Little touches like that add depth.
Structurally, it's chronological, but those subplots about family, career, friends are woven in so well, they don't feel like detours.
No, they enrich the main story. And there are recurring motifs, ideas that keep popping up. Consent, autonomy, the importance of having a support system.
Like a good friend group.
Exactly. That's huge in the book. These motifs reinforce the themes through repetition, make them stick. The transitions between funny scenes, romantic scenes, serious scenes feel smooth, keeping you engaged. And key moments, the proposal, the self-defense classes, big, honest conversations, they're highlighted, really showing the character arcs and driving home the message.
And she does some clever things rhetorically, too, like how the characters often question themselves, their feelings, their boundaries.
Yes. It's a great way to pull the reader in, make you reflect on your own stuff, too. Very effective.
It prompts self-reflection.
Definitely. She also sprinkles in references to current culture sports, food, grounding it firmly in our world, makes it feel very now. And irony and juxtaposition are key.
How so?
Well, the big one is contrasting that public spectacle of the proposal with the private intimacy Nik and Carlos build later. Or contrasting societal expectations of romance with Nik's actual needs and desires.
Highlighting the difference.
Exactly. And showing supportive friendships and family right alongside these failed grand gestures really underscores the value of genuine community.
So putting it all together, how effective is the book? Did Guillory achieve her purpose?
I'd say absolutely. It's entertaining, yes, but it's also thought-provoking. It challenges some old romance ideas while still delivering on love, friendship, and self-empowerment.
It manages both.
It does. And its success, both commercially and critically, shows it really connected with readers. It feels like a significant step in how romance novels can evolve. Integrating feminist ideas, diversity, realism, it enhances the whole package.
So the strengths are pretty clear. Great characters, strong themes, realistic relationships, that perfect blend of humor and heart.
Couldn't have said it better.
Are there any weaknesses, though? Anything critics or readers point out?
Well, like many romance novels, the overall arc towards a happy ending can feel a bit predictable. That's kind of baked into the genre sometimes.
Comes with the territory.
Right. And some readers might prefer less dialogue and more description. Also, while she often subverts tropes, some familiar elements are still there, which might not appeal to everyone. But generally, even those are used smartly to serve her message.
And its relevance today, still holding up.
Oh, absolutely. The exploration of autonomy, consent, empowerment, that's timeless, but especially relevant now. The way it blends humor, diversity, and real issues into romance feels like a great model for the genre moving forward.
Shows you can have depth and fun.
Exactly. The focus on self-discovery, great friendships, finding the courage to reject expectations, that stuff continues to resonate deeply, especially for anyone figuring out love and identity today. It encourages you to write your own rules.
A powerful message.
And remember, if you enjoy this kind of analysis, check out our Mindful Moments series and our other podcasts on our YouTube channel. More opportunities to think critically about important books and ideas.
So wrapping up, let's leave you with something to chew on. How much of your own life maybe is lived for an audience? Where do you draw that line between public appearance and private truth in your own key relationships?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? In a world that's always broadcasting, always setting norms, how do we define and protect what's genuinely ours? How do we make sure our biggest choices are truly our own? Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. If we've piqued your interest, you can find The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory pretty much anywhere books are sold. We'll put a link in the description if you want to purchase a copy.
Great read.
Please subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already, share this episode with someone who might enjoy it, and join us next time as we explore another fascinating book.